Content warning. Today's episode of Pop Culture covers topics that may be disturbing for some viewers or listeners. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Hello, my lovely hummingbirds, and welcome to another episode of Rate It here on Pop Culture. This week on Pop Culture in general, we're going to be doing a week full of episodes and a reel that I have been dying to post for some time. I just never really got the time to do it, but we're kicking off this week of catch up, if you will, and not catch up like the 90s hacer deje de ser no mamá mía de bulla de witty baby singers, but catch up in just posting everything that I never got a chance to because of scheduling conflicts or whatever other reasons, technology being one of them. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw my phone was non-operational for like 48 hours. Not a fun time for me, I will say that. But, you know, we're taking it in stride, my lovely hummingbirds. And this gorgeous Cher-inspired 70s makeup look, looking like I just popped out of the Carol Burnett variety show, is going to be on next week's episode of Makeup and Motivation. Everything is a cycle, where we dive into the second part of generational trauma, what it is, the cycles, and how to move forward in like breaking them down and things of that nature. But yeah, without further ado, enjoy this week's episodes. And en Spanish, para todos mis amados colibríes que están entonando, esta semana estaremos subiendo todos los episodios que nunca tuve una chance de subir en las previas semanas, sea por dificultades técnicas o no tener mi teléfono funcionando adecuadamente por 48 horas o cualquier otra razón, otros conflictos que he tenido en el proceso de hacer contenido, las ediciones y todo. Pero para ustedes en español que ven Pop Culture en español, específicamente vamos a hacer lo que es el palo de bastos. Para continuar lo que es la serie de tarot en español. No va a haber un grano de sal, una lectura esta semana, pero espero que les encanten los episodios y nos veremos la próxima semana para más contenido en español también. But there is also no episode of A Grain of Salt this week as far as a reading is concerned, just because time constraints. But I hope you guys enjoy all the episodes and are ready for what is to come next week. Okay, I love y'all so much. Thank you for tuning in to Pop Culture as always, and enjoy the episode. I love you. Bye. Hi, my lovely hummingbirds. For today's episode, you already know we're doing a cinnamon bun Persephone from the Olympus inspired makeup look, and we're going full cosplay on this one. So obviously prep your skin first. Use a nice thick moisturizer whenever you use body paint. Yes, I am recording this outside, so you're going to be hearing some ambiance noises. After you apply your moisturizer and body butter and primer as well, you're going to go in with a foundation. I did go with a lighter one. Granted, I was kind of pasty at this point of recording still. So I was using the Too Faced Born This Way foundation in the shade Swan. And we're doing an all-over application. once the foundation's on, we're gonna go in with our Mehron Star Makeup. It's body paint essentially, and it's in the hot pink shade. And for this one, this process itself took about half an hour. I went on hyperspeed in edit so that y'all didn't watch me do it the whole time. I made a whole little face there because I almost snorted the body paint, but it is going to go everywhere that we put on foundation. So face, neck, shoulders, bosom, all of it. And honestly, I love how bright, how pink, especially with that foundation underneath it. It really helped like bring a pop of color out a bit more. The foundation underneath it is also because any shade of pink, red, blue, and purple is some of the hardest colors to get out of your skin afterwards, as is green, honestly. So we went in there, and just so you know, any points you see me dancing, I'm jamming out to some Yellow Claw. Now, as you can see, I didn't apply it on my eyelids. We're going to go in with the Juvia's Place in that hot magenta pink, and we're going to use that as our base for our eyelids. I do have a primer on there. No, lies. I have a concealer on there. It was the Tarte, the Amazonian clay when it was the stick, but it's discontinued now, y'all. I'm sorry. And this is the part where I notice where it's two different pinks, and I'm like, oh no. So we're going to go back in with that body paint on the under eye area to give it a bit more of like seamless, blendable coverage so that it doesn't look all crazy and so different from like what I got going on with the rest of my face. Now we're going to go into the eye portion with the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Love Letter, because, I mean, is there a better love story than Persephone and Hades and Lord Olympus? I don't think so. It is, well, I don't know, Morticia and Gomez, they're neck and neck, but this is going to be in there to give a bit more definition. So we're putting it in our crease and a little bit above, doing like a not a faux wing, because it's kind of like a wing, just to really bring that definition into the eyes. You see how much better that looks? It looks so good. And now that we've done that, we're going to go back in with the Zulu palette by Juvia's Place in that gorgeous rose gold pink shimmery one, and we're going to apply that all over our eyelids as well as in the upper brow bone area once we get to that part. But honestly, it helped bring the shimmer to the eyes, the goldenness, the gorgeousness, and it just, I don't know, I love it. I love the way it came out. It was also kind of giving cut crease a little bit, but not really, you know. And for this portion, I forgot to show it, but we went in with our highlighter that we end up using later on. Still didn't show it in the video though, sorry, but it is from Juvia's Place as well. It is the Clio Loose highlighter, and like it just brings more brightness and glowy and sparkle to the whole makeup look, which I absolutely loved. I was like, okay, eyes, okay, let's get it. And for this part, we're using the Mehron setting powder. It is their sort of translucent powder. It's like It's the white one, and I love it because it's like part of their cake line. It's all for cosplaying and stage makeup and all that, and honestly this just helped really set the look so that we didn't really have to worry so much about creasing or any like running of the body paint. After my mini dance break, I went in with also same body paint from Mehron, and we're using the black shade, and honestly it goes on so smooth. It's so silky. I was gonna go in with regular eyeliner, but I was like, I don't know how that's gonna hold up over the body paint, so I just went in with more body paint, and like look at it, it's so good. It's just like gorgeous and such a deep dark tone. It's beautiful. For this next portion here, it is one of my favorite parts of the entire look. We are drawing on all of Persephone's freckles, and she has this cute little like up-down pattern to it. We did use the cream eyeliner from Pixie. It is available at Target. It is super economic. It's so creamy. It's so nice. It's so pigmented, which I love. And it is also in the black shade. Once that's done, we're going on to the lips because I know they were looking a little crazy there. It was giving concealer lips from the early 2000s, or no, early 2010s. That's what it was. But we went in with the matte Diva lipstick from Milani Cosmetics. Unfortunately, this shade has since discontinued. Like, oh my god, I can't even articulate because I'm so sad about it. And of course, we got to make it glow. We got to give a little bit of differentiating tones to it from the rest of our face. So we went in with a lime crime gloss, and I don't remember the shade, but it's a pink one. It's so pretty. It's so glossy, and it just helped bring the lips out more versus everything else. And now for the brows, I was using a Maybelline, like one of the standalone shades. I believe it was in Espresso. And it's so good. It really helped layer the definition to the brows there, because I was like, I'm losing the brows in this look and we got to make them defined. And now, would any cosplay look be complete if we didn't do a dancey dance to it? Yes, my arms are not painted at this point yet. And for next up, for our blush, we're using the Artisan Color Baked Blush in the Rich Peach from Black Radiance. And look at that, it's so pretty. I love that like this blush looks so bright and hot pink when my face isn't bright and hot pink, but I love that it came out looking almost coral, and it's so blushing goddess. Now at this point I was racking my brain. I was like, how the hell am I going to contour all of this pink? What do I possibly use? So we're going to go in with that gorgeous violet from the Zulu by Juvia Blaze. And when I tell you it was the move to do, it really just helped bring some depth and gave some really great contour to the entire face. And for my next favorite part, I've said it so many times before, I'm out here looking like a glazed donut. That same shade of Clio that we used on the inner corner of our eyes, we're going to use on the bridge of our nose, on the little button of our nose, because Persephone has that little button look going on, and we're going to go upwards just to like really lift the face. And trust me when I tell y'all, I was out here looking like a glazed donut, and I absolutely fell in love with this look more and more as it progressed. And with my wig on and this flower crown and these lashes, it's giving goddess, it's giving queen of the underworld, it's giving goddess of spring, it's giving dread queen extraordinaire. Oh my god, it is everything. Also, I soon quickly discover lighting is everything, as you will too once we get into the actual video, but absolutely loved it. Let me know what you think, and if you try it out, enjoy the video. Hello, my lovely hummingbirds. I am so fucking pink, y'all. What's poppin'? Welcome or welcome back to another episode of Rate It here on POPCulture with your lovely host, Mehron, cosplaying as our favorite cinnamon roll on the webtoon internet, Persephone from Olympus. When I tell y'all I am geeked about today's makeup look, like it slays, it kills. I love it so much. Like I've been planning this for years, mind you, and it never came to fruition until this moment. Also, the blue flower crown that you saw in the video, I lost that on one of my birthdays. That crown is gone. I'm so sad because it was the perfect shade of blue to compliment Persephone for her husband, Hades. It was beautiful. So, I'm in love. Oh no, my microphone, it stopped working. Hope it's working now. So, hi my lovely hummingbirds. If you are new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. As I said, didn't I say welcome or welcome back? I don't know, but I am so excited. So, for those of you that don't know, Webtoon is a website / application on the interwebs where you can see various forms of comics. They are 9 times out of 10 animated, like cartoon, like 2D, like if they were comic books. Some of them are 3D. There's one that I've seen and I keep seeing it and I'm like, I can't read that because I know it's gonna freak me out. I love me some good horror, but there's certain things about having it in the palm of my hand. So Webtoon is I think it's a Korean company. I think. Don't know. Here's a correction. But for today's episode specifically, we're going to be rating Olympus. Olympus was originally created in New Zealand by Rachel Smith on March 4th, 2018 was its original date of creation. And it officially ended after 6 years on May 11th, 2024, and your girl being me is not okay. It breaks my heart. I know, y'all, it's 6 years, but I still, look, if I'm still struggling with the fact that Supernatural ended and that shit ran for 15 years, what makes you think I'm gonna be okay with Lore Olympus ending? No, but in all seriousness, so it essentially was a romance comic or web comic launched back in 2018 as a modern retelling of the story of Hades and Persephone. Now, for all my Greek mythology buffs out there that are like, bruh, that is not how the real, I know that's not how the real story is, okay? Do not bring reality into my fantasy land. I know that's not how the mythology works. Yes, ooh, hello. First off, she's falling, and these are not painted. Because I was not gonna do it. This is already gonna be hell and a half taking it off before I gotta go to where I'm going to today. But my craziness aside, so modern retelling of the story of Hades and Persephone. For those of you that don't know, Hades and Persephone are two of the ancient Greek gods in the Greek pantheon of like creation and life and all that. And they are honestly two of the most favorite gods of people, especially I feel like nowadays in like popular culture, media has definitely pushed the narrative to be more Lore Olympus-y than the original creations. Now, I'm trying to find the little thing so that I can tighten this because this is okay. I'm gonna just leave it alone. Just gonna not touch it. But the story follows. It starts with the kidnapping of Persephone with a twist. So, Rachel Smith, the original creator, she did this whole thing, a whole announcement about Lore Olympus ending. And the thing with Webtoon, and I don't know, I did so many versions of that episode, I don't think I ended up mentioning it. But Webtoon only allows for 280 episodes of a webcomic series to be purchased with a fast pass. For those of you that are not on Webtoon and you're like, Monroe, what are you talking about? For those of you that know, you know. Especially when you get a real good series, you're like, take all my fucking coins. I don't even care. So, the way that Webtoon works, to have an account on Webtoon is free. But one of the quirks about the app itself is like, if you lose your account, like, that's it. Because, like, say you lose your phone, you're done. You're not restoring any of your purchases or anything like that. Which I think is a little, but whatever. What do I know? I don't have an application. But creators only have up to 280 episodes for a fast pass. Fast passes essentially work with a monetary value. Each episode costs a certain amount of coins. Coins themselves range from anywhere from like, I think it's $1.99 for like 10 coins up to like $50 for I don't know how many. I don't remember off the top of my head, but each episode, depending on the series and its popularity, obviously, and just how much traction it gets and all of that, costs different per episode fast pass. So when it first started, I think a fast pass episode was like either 3 or 5 coins. And up until now, for the series finale, it went up to like 7 or 8. And a lot, I watched the internet, essentially. But basically, there was a lot of discourse surrounding if Rachel Smith was really done with the series, or if she was basically just ending it abruptly because of the lack of, or like inability of being able to charge for episodes moving forward past the 280 limit that Webtoon allows. I can't even be mad at her. It's her creation. So why am I so tongue-tied? No, you know what it is? I'm so giddy. I look at myself, looking all pink, all Persephone, all cinnamon roll adorableness, and I'm just like, look at you, so cute. Forgetting that it's me. It's a weird dissociation thing I got going on right now in this moment for this video, but I'm like, oh, I just want to hug you, and then I'm like, wait, that's me. Anywho, I love this cosplay. It's like one of my favorite cosplays ever. I have yet to do it at a convention, but I will, hopefully soon. So, tangent aside, my perspective on that is it's her creation, right? She made this comic, she made this, obviously it's inspired by Greek mythology, and there are like nods and snippets to the original mythology stories themselves, but she's creating this comic book, she's creating this series. So even if it was a monetary thing of like, damn, I can't get paid after the 280 episodes, shit, I would have probably found a way to like end it too. Like, I don't know. But the reason why there was so much clamor, commotion, I guess is a good word, around the ending is because it felt abrupt, especially because of the way the series was progressing at the time when the announcement came that the series would end this year back in May. And if you're like, Monroe, y'all, everybody that was reading Lore Olympus, it was 6 years. We know. But the series was so good. And if you haven't read it yet and you're watching me and all my pink gorgeousness right now, y'all need to go watch it. I mean, read it. Not watch it. I'm saying watch it because we're going to get into that in a second. But yes, so it is a series that revolves around the romantic retelling of the story of Hades and Persephone. It begins with the quote-unquote kidnapping of Persephone, sort of. So we open to a scene, and this is so heartbreaking. This series, shout out, where is my button? Where's my button? Oh wait, the battery's loose. I was like, why is she not... Why is she not giving it? The battery was loose. Nope, I think my button's broken. Anyway, so shout out to Miss Rachel Smith. I really hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, for creating the series, the storyline, the plot line, all of it. Granted, were there some plot holes here and there throughout the series? Sure. But I feel like as a writer, myself, and making my own creations that I'm creating, I can't judge. It happens. It really does. We see it in some of the biggest works of art and creation across popular culture and media. There's always a plot hole somewhere. So that aside, it was a very well written, very well done, and very gorgeously illustrated series. It is also now in print. So if you're like, I don't want to read a webcomic, baby, it's also in book format. And I will be purchasing myself that for Christmas this year. But my book talk vibes aside too. So this part makes me want to cry. We open the series up with Hades going to a party that was done by his brother Zeus. Yes. Fuck boy of the Greek gods. Respectfully. So, and everyone, pretty much everyone from Greek mythology is in this series. Like right away we see Zeus, we see Hades, we see Why was I gonna say Percy Jackson's dad? Jeez, Poseidon. We see Poseidon. And we also see Persephone and Artemis getting ready to go to this party on Olympus. It is a giant party where everyone's gonna be there and it's a whole thing, right? So they're getting ready. Hades is on his way to go see Mint. If you know Greek lore, you know Mint is Hades' side piece. In the series, that is the person that he was like, I'm gonna marry this woman, I'm gonna make her my wife, I don't care if she's only a nymph. Had a whole ring and everything, and he was ready to put it on there. And because they had a very friends with benefits style kind of relationship, and Mint, I honestly, in lore Olympus, the entire time I was like, Mint, you are getting done so dirty by someone that you think is your friend. That bitch is not your friend. She's only Zeus's mistress and is only advising you based on the perspective of her own experiences that are quite askew. But anyway. So, she kind of becomes a bitch, obviously, towards our lovely cinnamon roll, and you kind of love to hate her at a point and feel bad for her all at the same time. It's very conflicting. But he's approaching her apartment complex, and he's like, why aren't you ready to go to this party with me? Like, what the fuck? And she's very, like, down about her position and the fact that he is king of the underworld. And she's like, yes, because they're going to accept a nymph to be the queen of the underworld. And he's like, so what are we doing? And she's like, I don't know, same thing we always do, huh? We are just two broken people breaking each other down further, whatever. She rejects to go to the party. It's a whole thing. And he had like this wow, that was such a weird evil little laugh I just did there. If I look pinker, I am blushing under that reaction that I just had. Ooh, so I got this fake fur coat for the sole purpose of the fact that it was on Lore Olympus as the coat that Hades first gives Persephone. Ooh, anyway. Hi, welcome. I have issues. So, yes, so she rejects going to the party with him. He's like, okay, I guess. Is very confused and conflicted by all of it because he is falling for her, or thinks he is. I don't know. And biased. And so then goes to the party, and in walks Persephone in the shortest little fucking dress. And mind you, Persephone is thick. Okay, baby girl is thickums. In the wise words of Nikki, she dummy thick. She really is. And so, I mean, Hades, Zeus, and Poseidon are still kind of sluts. So, eyes right at her. And she's with Artemis. They're partying, whatever. I can't remember if either she gets a little too drunk or... No. Hades made a comment that she was more beautiful than Aphrodite, which, if you follow the Greek pantheon in any way, shape, or form, or are on TikTok, on Witch Talk, you know you don't do that. You don't compare anyone's beauty to Aphrodite. If you know the story of Medusa, yeah, that's a big no-no. And he didn't give a fuck, so he said it, that she's more beautiful than Aphrodite. And she gets pissed, and I think she like drugs her, gets her real drunk, some shit happens. It's been so, I can see the panels, but the details are a little blurry. And so they put her in Hades' bed. Was it at his house, or was it, I think it was at his house. Wow, huh. You know, I did say I was gonna reread the web series, before this episode that didn't end up happening. I got so busy. But work mostly. But Hades is like, okay, let's make sure this poor, like, drunk girl is okay, because he's a gentleman in this series. He's just a wholesome cinnamon bun too. I love him so much. I love this series so much. And he takes care of her and makes sure that she's good. And I can't remember who tells the media or whatever, and he gives her this coat essentially and is like, here you go, like, to keep yourself warm or whatever. Drops her off. Mind you, Persephone is part of Togam, and that's what I'm calling it. It's Tgoem, which is the goddesses of eternal maidenhood. It is something that her mother Demeter wants to keep her in because, one, it'll preserve her virginity in Demeter's eyes, as well as, you know, protect her from the entirety of Olympus and all the other gods finding out that she is a fertility goddess. That is basically one of the big secrets throughout the whole series until, like, it gets revealed later on. And a whole battle ensues with that. But obviously, people find out and the drama happens. And in the series, as we see in many series, Hades is quite feared, ostracized, and kind of just shunned almost by the other denizens of Olympus, just because he is king of the underworld. He's the king of death. What was one of the things that Mint said that just, like, broke my heart? I was like, you bitch, how dare you tell him that? Something of he reeked of the stench of death, something along those lines. And I was like, baby girl, that man is paying your apartment. What are we doing? So, like, girl, why they gotta make Hades so beautiful? Yes, I know he is blue and a 2D character, y'all. Don't judge me. Go read the writing. You know, oh god, I can't remember if I saw this in a TikTok. I'm gonna make a little sound of it. For the launch of this video about Disney did not ruin my perception of love. It was the fictional characters written by women that did. Anywho, so fast forward, party happens, it's chaotic. Cupid, my baby boy, he's so precious, feels really bad about the fact it's Eros. Eros? Why doesn't that sound right? I think it's right. I don't know. He feels so bad about, like, what he did to Persephone and the whole, like, helping his mom get whatever petty revenge, and they do end up becoming, like, total besties. But at the time of, like, all of this happening and Hades taking her, like, dropping her off at home, and then she going to school and all the weirdness happens and the drama and she's screwing one of the kings and one of the gods of the underworld. Like, how dare she? She's a skank, and all this just, like, rude shit is being said about her. And this, at that point in time, makes her really kind of sort of confide in Apollo, who is Artemis's brother, and Persephone is Artemis's roommate, since they are both part of Togam. And we love Hermes. Hermes, that's my boy. He's such a cutie patootie. But mind you, and if you saw the content warning in the beginning of today's episode, it's because Lore Olympus does touch upon very tragic situations, including unaliving and assault and so many other things. But Apollo is the one that takes advantage of Persephone and ends up assaulting her sexually. And he ends up blaming her for it, saying that she wanted it. and starts to claim that he has some type of control and power over her that obviously she doesn't. But his issue is essentially that he was like very incredibly obsessed with her. Very, very, very obsessed with her. To the point where he's like, you know, no, we go together and like all this stuff. And she's like, no, we don't. Like, I didn't want that. And he's like, yes, you did. You're such, like, it's a whole fucking thing. And Persephone, out of fear that she's going to get kicked out amid also Apollo's fucking threats that that's what's going to happen, that her life is basically going to fall into fucking shambles and no one's going to want her because now she's sullied and tainted and all this bullshit. And that Artemis is going to kick her out for betraying her trust. I'm like, bruh. Ugh. Anyway. Also, pretty much every character has a nickname in the Lore Olympus fandom. If you hear me at some point say Apollo, it is a slip of the fandom. He does all that, and for years, because the series went on for years, poor Persephone, she really, or Kore, as Adonis so cutely calls her, really hides it from everyone until she breaks down and confides in Eros about it, and that in itself is just such a tragic part of the series. As we move along through it, you see a lot of character development, a lot of secrets come to light, the whole Demeter and Hades thing, the whole Hades and my girl Hera, everything with Hera and Kronos, and just Zeus and all of his betrayals, and the whole him and Hera are really together more of convenience and I guess loyalty to one another. It's weird. They have a very weird dynamic, but the series progresses and you see not only Persephone really develop into this character of just wit and strength and power and amazingness, but you also see her grow and mature and really be able to stand on her own decisions, because one of the things of her character is that she was sheltered her entire life by her mom. So Demeter is very traumatized throughout the series because of the way that her and essentially her sisters all grew up in the Great War when the gods had to help defeat Kronos, and how Kronos basically maimed all of them except Zeus. And so she knows Kronos swallowed their mom in order to become super powerful and defeat their grandfather. So she's like, well, if they find out, and then Zeus had to also do that with, who was it? It's gonna be here. But had to also do that in order to, you know, do the same and be able to help defeat Kronos. So it's like she's seeing the pattern, and she birthed a fertility goddess. So she's like, oh no. She's like, if Zeus or any of the other gods find out that Persephone is a fertility goddess, and my daughter will repeat the same fate. So she kind of just never tells her and keeps her very shut in. One of the other big secrets is Persephone is known as not only Persephone but also as Kore, who is the goddess of destruction and wrath and the underworld. And she basically lost control at a point and caused a massive destruction of human life. And who was it? Was it her? It wasn't Hermes. It was, what's old boy's name? Can't remember, but he starts messing around with Minth. Or was the whole time. The tea, y'all. The tea is so pristine in this series. Wow, I really can't remember his name right now. we're gonna put it right here because I cannot remember it off the top of my head. But he is one of the gods that helps assist Hades in the guidance of humans through the underworld. And basically, they helped hide the big truth of Persephone. Hades does eventually find out. The Fates are also in this, and it's so cute because they look like receptionists from the 80s. It's just perfect. And they're like, oh, our king is asking about his queen. And one of the things that I found super cute recently, you know how in Hercules, the 90s version from Disney, it shows that one of the Fates is like obsessed with Hades because he's like, ladies, my fate is in your lovely hands, or whatever. I don't know why I made him sound weird like that, but, and she's like, ah, to her sisters. Yeah, that's true for any part of Greek mythology. One of them is very obsessed with him, and they put it even in the series, and they're like, come on, like, you know, he's never gonna be into you, like, it's against fate, like, he has his person. I'm just like, oh my god. Why am I just like so geeked right now? And then move forward. So one of the things about the series is it does a really good job of highlighting not only different facets of Persephone's growth and her adjustment as she leaves home, as she leaves the very secluded and sequestered environment in which she grew up in. Although it's so funny because like Ares is also obsessed with her, and he has been for a really long time. I think he did know she was a fertility goddess. He just kind of would like kept it to himself. But she would go and like take random baths in the lake. So like Ares definitely saw her naked. Not Eros. Who the fuck is Eros? Isn't Eros the sun god? Hold on. I said Cupid. Hold on. I remembered as I was gonna go search for it. I'm right, and Helios is the sun god. Anywho, because I wrote it in a poem. So Ares is like, that's baby. Like, you wanna love up on some Persephone, which like, dude, what? So Hades and her are kind of in this will we or won't we phase. He ends up making their version of Facebook or Instagram or whatever. They follow each other. It's like, it's all so cute. And the more that he begins to fall in love with her, the more that he starts to realize like, maybe I'm not in love with mint. Yes, you do see Persephone turn mint into a plant, although it is very I don't know how to turn her back situation versus just being out of pure spite and jealousy. She's just like, oh shit, what do I do now? So sorry. I intentionally intended on drinking a mint mojito during this, because I ain't shit. But alas, things did not pan out as initially planned. Evil. So, anywho. Yeah. So, we see her growth occur as the series progresses. And you also see a shift. So, one of the things that I love about the way that Rachel Smith wrote this is that just like in life. So in life, right, my lovely hummingbirds, when we're all younger, we worry about younger people shit, right? We're worrying about our status in society. We're worrying about how our peers view us, what our parents think, our relationships and the drama and all that craziness. And making sure like we're still doing good in school, and then moving forward and like, okay, now I need to get a job. Oh my god, I need to do this. And then battling all the emotions that come with like going into adulthood and like, what am I going to do about this? Things like that, right? Discovering ourselves sexually. All these factors she put into this story. And as you see the character progress, you really do see that growth, not only with Persephone, who is one of the titular characters as is Hades, but with all of the characters, which I found really, really beautiful, and I felt like it made the story very cohesive. But one of the things that I love is like you still see little quips of like what is known as Olympian god pettiness sprinkled throughout, which I think is iconic. You also see Persephone grow into being more comfortable in her skin. She has very like sexy outfits and very like queen like poised outfits, and like she's a badass. I'm in love. I'm in love with all the characters. But she never loses that real sweet quality that she has to her, which is why everyone calls her a cinnamon roll. And one of my favorite things ever is like she makes Hades baklava. And I think it was Hermes. It's in the elevator and he's like, "What you got there?" It's like, "You want one?" Like she made it because she starts working in the corporate building of the underworld as one of Hades's assistants, essentially. It's freaking beautiful. And then it progresses even more to the point where like they're married, chaos happens, Zeus loses his shit, Hades ends up trapped. I think he ends up trapped. No, they end up getting separated because Persephone, no, eternal winter happens after. Something happens and they're basically separated for like X amount of years. Hades loses his shit without his beautiful, gorgeous bride. It's about 10 years that she is essentially isolated to remain in the Earth realm. And what happened? It's like a blip. I don't remember what the frick happened. But it's a whole thing. Her and Mint at this point do make amends. We still see a lot of tension because they were on trial. That's right. They were on trial for that. So she essentially ended up inducing like an eternal winter or some shit, and no, lies. That's after. So basically the whole thing of her unleashing wrath gets discovered because of Apollo and his mom. And it becomes a whole thing, and even chaos gets involved in it. Like, and she gets banished to the human world, and Hades is like, "Fuck you, Zeus, how dare you." But the reason why Zeus is so reprimanding at that point is because Apollo gets in his head and he's like, you know, they don't respect you, they don't believe in you or your power, you're nothing to them, your moniker as a king is only a moniker type of shit, and really gets in his head and his ego, and he ends up doing that. Obviously everyone who has sense is against it. And you do see struggles between Demeter and Hades throughout as well, because Demeter is like, what the fuck, like, you are only using my daughter type of thing, you can't possibly love her, how could you, she's the goddess of spring and you're king of the underworld, she could never be happy there type of thing. She reveals she ate seeds from the pomegranate. So many things. And one of the cute little things is so cute. They do end up seeing their future baby, and she is deaf mute, and Hades does sign language with her, and I think that's the cutest fucking thing ever. Obviously at the end of the series, spoilers, y'all, sorry, spoilers throughout this whole thing, they do defeat the big bad, which is Kronos, and Hera has a really big hand to play at it because she defeats his physical side, while Hades is in the dream, in the 5D essentially, through the help of Morpheus to defeat Kronos on a psychological level, and the series itself really covers, you know, the impacts of trauma and generational trauma and how it plays a role, not only with each individual within the story, but on how it has essentially shaped Olympus itself. Because, I mean, Olympus wouldn't have happened, or it would have never existed had patricide not occurred to some degree. Some of the very interesting parts that they do discuss in the series is how, like, Tartarus has been there since before anything else type of thing. So I think that was super interesting. You do see images of Nyx, which is super cool. You end up seeing, like, a lot of nods to mythology itself. Like, I love this series, and I am going to tell y'all, as far as ratings go, it is a 10 out of 10 for me, and I am not basing it on accuracy. I'm not basing it on complete mythos accuracy. I am basing it on levels of entertainment and fanciness and gorgeousness and love. But it is a really, really good series. I feel like it's a really cute starting point. Like, if someone is like, I want to know more about Greek mythology, it's like, okay, let me give you the Lore Olympus version of it. She's falling. Lore Olympus version of it first before I give you the real version of it. But it is a very fun series. It does have more mature context. So I will say that, my lovely hummingbirds, like, this is not something I would necessarily read to children. But it is a very well-rounded series. As the series ended, I think Rachel Smith did an incredible job at really condensing everything. Pretty sure we did like a slight little time jump, but condensing everything and really giving those closures. Apollo does get his comeuppance at the end, where he ends up getting shot with an arrow of true love. He was gonna shoot it into Persephone because he wanted her to be obsessed with him. Bruh, this man's crazy. Or God? This God guy? Look at ass Apollo. And so she uses one of her vines and stabs him with it, and she's like, and now you will feel the pain of true love and the guilt of knowing what it's like having done what you did to me. And he had called, like, the media people because they were gonna televise how him and Persephone were gonna be in union or whatever bullshit. Hera does not approve, and if Hera don't approve of that marriage, it ain't happening. But the whole thing, basically confesses to everything, and he gets his ass handed to him by Demeter and Ares, and I'm just like, all is right in the world. Kick his ass. I feel like for anyone that has suffered any form of assault, that part was very, like, you know, breath of relief, honestly. But yeah, the whole series talks about very difficult topics, which is why I'm saying, like, y'all, let's not let's not show it to the kiddos. But yeah, that is my rating for Lore Olympus. I think it is a 10 out of 10. Well, like I said, there are certain plot holes that happens in pretty much all writing. As far as illustrations, amazing. Cohesiveness of, like, bringing the story together at the end was impeccable. The retelling of it in a more modern account also, I think, is really amazing. I think to a certain point, especially like as generations move forward and progress, there are certain things that can get lost in translation when it comes to earlier texts and works of art and things like that. So retellings every now and then, I think, really do help bring attention to the previous tellings of stories and things of that nature. So I don't know, I like it. It was really good. Let me know if you guys want me to do a, like, webtoon haul for Lore Olympus, like, per season, per series, I guess. And give y'all more in-depth about each part of it. But I will gladly do that and cosplay different characters as we go along doing it. But overall, incredible series. I am so sad that it's gone. Rachel Smith, if you ever see this, thank you. Thank you for your work with Lore Olympus. The reason I said watching or seeing earlier in the episode, so in 2019, it was said that Webtoon was going to work, I can't remember the producer's name, with them to create like an official series for Lore Olympus. Was it in 2019? Or 2021? I think it might have been 2021. Where they were going to do like an actual series. It was like a whole thing even on TikTok where you could like submit shit to Webtoon in cosplay of why like you would be great to voice the character. Honestly, I know me, and as much as I would love to voice her cinnamon roll, I feel like I'd end up voicing Mint. But anyway, that's it from me for you for today, my lovely hummingbirds. I love you all so much. As always, les mando mucha paz, muchos besos, y les recuerdo que miren hacia la luna. Sending you much peace, many kisses, reminding you to always look up at the moon. I love you all so much. Let me know if you've read Lore Olympus or what your favorite webtoons are in the comments of this video. Like, share, subscribe, all of that. Let me know in the comments. Also, if you do want me to make a full Lore Olympus series on this channel itself, like as far as going down the different chapters of the webtoon series. But that's it. That's all I got. I love you all so much. I hope you enjoyed the creation of today's makeup look, and yeah. Okay, I love you. Have a good one. Bye.